Hi all, today we will be learning about the global income inequality. So here we will be exploring how wealth and income are distributed across societies and the mathematical models economists use to measure inequality and the structural causes behind widening economic gap. We will also examine how globalization, technology and government policies influence income distribution. Along with this, the strategies nations use to reduce inequality and improve living standards. By the end of this presentation, we will understand why income inequality remains one of the most important economic and social challenges of the modern world. Okay, so let's start with the understanding income distribution. So income distribution refers to the way a country's total income and wealth are shared among its population. So this concept is important because it determines the standard of living experienced by different social and economic group, right? So a fair distribution usually lead to better social ability, while unequal distribution often result in poverty and reduced opportunities. Okay, and income distribution also help economists to identify structural poverty. Okay, helps to identify structural poverty for economic measuring economic inequality and also the living standard. Okay, so income distribution also help economists to identify structural poverty rates and measure economic equality. It serves as the foundation for understanding how wealth moves through society and how economic system impact people differently. Okay, so this distribution is directly indicate three critical national outcome. What are they? Economic growth, aggregate consumption, and social stability. Now let's see how to measure it. To understand inequality, economists use both numerical and graphical tools. Okay, so one important tool is the Gini coefficient. It's a numerical value between 0 and 1. Okay, a value of 0 represents perfect equality. So 0 shows perfect equality, and while 1 shows absolute inequality, where one person owns everything. Okay, so it is a precise numerical measure between 0 equals perfect equality and 1 indicate absolute inequality. And another important tool is the Lorenz curve. Okay, so this graph compares the cumulative share of income earned by the population. So the farther the curve, so the further the curve is from the line of perfect equality, the greater the inequality in the society. Okay, so together these tools help government and economists value their fairness of income distribution. So let's see that in a little bit more detail. Okay, so as you can see here, let's see how Gini coefficient is mathematically calculated. So the model compares actual income distribution represented by the Lorenz curve. Okay, with the ideal line of perfect equality. So this is the ideal line of perfect equality from the straight line. Okay. So the area between the Lorenz curve and the line of equality. Okay. So that is the area A. Okay. Represent the inequality. So this represent the inequality. Okay. So the larger the area become, higher the Gini coefficient and greater the income gap. Got it? So economy use this mathematical framework to track changes in inequality over time and analyze how economic growth affect wealth distribution. So how can you calculate Gini coefficient by area A by area A plus area B. Okay, this is how we will calculate it. Now let's see what are the causes and effects of inequality. Okay. So income inequality operates as a self-reinforcing circle. Okay, as you can see here, it's a cycle. So several systemic forces contribute to inequality. So these include differences in education and skill differences, right? And unequal labor market opportunities and government policies that may favor certain groups over others. Okay, government policies. So the effects of inequality include reduce the social mobility. So what will be the effects? Reduce the social mobility and economic instability, right? Health and economic instability, that is poor health outcomes, okay, and limited access to opportunities, and also the social unrest, and increased poverty. So these effects worsen the original cause. For example, poor education leads to lower paying jobs, right? Which increases the poverty and further limit access to quality of education. So it's a repeating cycle, right? So when you have less skills and educational qualification, definitely you won't be getting a higher paying job. As a result, you won't be able to afford better job, better education later. So it's continuous as a cycle, okay, of disparity. Clear? Everything is connected and worsen the situations further. Now let's see some advanced economic theories. So modern economics explain inequality through several advanced theories. First one is the capital accumulation theory. So this theory argues that wealth naturally generate more wealth through investment and ownership of assets. As a result, people who already possess capital become richer faster than the wage earners. So it explains how wealth generate more wealth. So you know that whenever you have 1 CR or 2 CR at your hand, and you can just put it as a fixed deposit. So it will itself generate some income for you, right, as interest. So that will make you more richer than the normal wage earners, right? So that is capital accumulation theory. Secondly, we have another theory that is called the technology and globalization. So automation and global market tend to reward highly skilled workers while reducing opportunity for low skilled labor. So about this theory, we have seen some of its impact very recently, right? After the introduction of AI. Many people who works in the bottom level of tech departments got fired or laid off due to this advancement in technology, and those who have more skills and who can manage this technology got good opportunities. Okay. And finally, we have the social choice theory. So this theory explains how collective potential and economic decisions influence the distribution of resources and opportunities within the society. How collective decision making and institutional structures can inadvertently unequal lock in unequal distribution patterns. Okay, so these are the theories. Now let's see some global comparisons. Okay, so we have the Gini profile, economic context and observation of Norway, US and India. So in Norway, their Gini coefficient is, shows low inequality, but in United States it is high inequality, and India it is growing inequality. And what is the economic context? Highly integrated welfare state, right? And what about US? It is capital intensive or tech service driven. And India, uneven development, transitioning rapidly. Okay. An observation, it is strict baseline equality, and here it is eye ceiling widening the graph, and here growth outpacing equitable distribution. So Norway represents a low inequality model because of its strong welfare system and government support programs. Wealth is distributed more evenly across the society, right? But as for United States, it shows the higher inequality due to its capital intensive and market driven economy. While there are many opportunities for wealth creation, the gap between rich and poorer is very large. And for India, it represents a developing economy with growing inequality. Rapid economic growth has improved many sectors, but equal distribution of wealth remains a challenge. Okay, so these examples show how different economic system and policies produce different inequality outcomes. Clear? Now let's see the connection with the economic growth. So income distribution is closely connected to the broader economic indicators, right? Let's start with the GDP. So gross domestic product measures the total economic output of a country, right? However, GDP growth alone does not guarantee equal wealth distribution. Okay. And what about Human Development Index? So it measures factors like education, life expectancy, and living standards. High inequality often reduces these human development outcomes, right? And what about poverty rates? It also reveals how many citizens remain below basic living standards despite economic growth. Therefore, economists use inequality metrics to determine whether economic progress benefit the entire population or only a small group. Got it? So therefore, economists use inequality metrics to determine whether economic progress benefit the entire population or only a small group. Clear? Now, let's see the government intervention. So, let's see how government policies can reduce inequality. Okay, so before taxes and welfare programs, income distribution is usually highly unequal, right? After redistribution policies are applied, the Lorenz curve move closer to line of equality. See? So this shift shows that the progressive taxation, social welfare, and redistribution program can directly lower the Gini coefficient. In simple terms, government intervention can improve fairness by supporting lower income groups and reducing the wealth gap. Clear? So progressive taxation and a redistribution of income directly reduce the Gini coefficient, fundamentally improving the structural equality. Okay. Now let's see the policy solutions. So government rely on several major policy tools to improve income distribution. So the first one is progressive taxation, where higher income individuals pay higher tax rates and this help fund social programs. Okay. Next we have welfare programs. Okay. So what is welfare programs? That includes unemployment support, healthcare and direct financial assistance for vulnerable populations. And then we have minimum wage laws. So it ensures workers receive a baseline level of income. Okay. Finally, we have education and training. So these programs help people to gain skills and access better employment opportunities. So together, all these policies aim to reduce inequality and improve long-term economic stability. Okay. Now let's see what is sustainable development. So reducing inequality is essential for sustainable development, right? So the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals emphasize equal opportunities. Okay, equal opportunities and poverty reduction and inclusive economic growth. So when income is distributed more fairly, societies experience stronger social stability, right? Better education outcomes, improved healthcare access, and higher productivity. So, therefore, income inequality is not only an economic issue but also a key requirement for long term global development and social progress. So, how can we um, attain the sustainable development goals? Providing equal opportunities and reduce the inequality and directly support inclusive economic growth and also these are the foundational to achieve long-term sustainable developmental goals. Okay, so it is political, sociological, public health, and the environment. We have to combine all together. Clear? So, to conclude, income distribution is the foundation of economic fairness and social stability, right? So, factors like a capital accumulation, globalization, and technological advancement continue to increase inequality in many parts of the world. However, effective government policies such as progressive taxation, welfare support, and investment in education can reduce inequality and improve living standards. So, the key message of the point is that while economic growth is important, fair distribution of wealth is equally necessary to build a sustainable and inclusive societies. I hope it is clear for you. Thanks for watching.